Gaining full independence in 1966, this small country of just over 2 million people is entirely surrounded by South Africa. Join me on a quick one-day trip on this segment of Ms. World Traveler Goes on Vacation to Lesotho. Another early morning ride to the airport. It was a welcome change to have no luggage since I was only going for the day. The plane was small, but it made sense when I arrived in Mazuru, and it was a minuscule airport. After what I considered an absurd amount of security protocols, I met my guide, Matlatsi.
Traveler Kerry. My name is Matlatsi. Welcome to the mountain kingdom of Lesotho.
A short drive from the airport, our first stop was the cultural village, where we were shown around by Udwani.
Welcome to Tababusu Cultural Village. My name is Qiloane, so I'm gonna be your tour guide for today.
The local people are the Basotho. They speak Sesotho and they live in Lesotho, so it was easy for me to remember. The dwellings are typical of what I'd seen elsewhere, except for the stone huts, which were brought by European missionaries. It was a bit surprising how well lit they were inside for no light sources.
And then here we've got the Basotho rake, and it's called Metolong. This is where they would put their dishes. And then we've got this glass. It's made up of clay. It's called Mopotwana. They used it for drinking beer, alcohol, water, and other liquid things. And then we've got this basin. It's made up of clay too. It was used by only important visitors only. For unimportant people, they used this plant to make dishes for them. If you're going to eat veggies, they cut it down here. Then the next day it's milk. They cut it a little bit up to increase the surface area. Then for making a bottle, they cut it here.
After wandering around a bit, we finished the village portion of the tour and headed to the museum to learn more about Basotho history. Catching my eye right away, I thought the blankets were quite interesting with their symbolic colors and designs, as they were often gifts of respect and friendship.
And this one is called Khareza because it has the picture of this aloe that is found in Lesotho. So the whole blanket was called Khareza. And then here, every chief was supposed to have this blanket. So they named it Every Chief Must Have, meaning Seanela Marena. Then Basotho carried it into Seana Marena.
Highlighting their history in timelines and by the people who were pivotal in their development, the Basotho fought hard to be an independent nation with their own individual language and customs, and finally achieved it in 1966. One of the things the Basotho are known for is their cone-shaped headpiece, and of course I had to ask where the design came from. Easy answer: Mount Qiloane, which embodies the spirit and heritage of Lesotho, linking its landscape directly to its culture and history, and is almost exactly the same shape as their conical hats. Lesotho's most precious and abundant natural resource is water, which they export to South Africa. So we headed to Metolong Dam, one of 3 local dams, to learn more at the now familiar cone-shaped information center. A beautiful building with lots of informative facts. We walked outside to see the dam itself, and lo and behold, water was being released that day. It was a serene, pastoral setting to appreciate their most important commodity. On our way back to the capital city, Maizuru, we saw Lion Mountain, which bore a striking resemblance to a lion, and then wound our way up to the Parliament building on top of a hill. I guess the military security guards didn't perceive me as a threat because they let us into the gate to take pictures. Constructed in 1901, the old structure became too small and new buildings were added in 2012. From just about any window, those inside would have a spectacular view of Maizuru, which surrounds the base. Down the hill, in the heart of the city, another cone-shaped building housed the Lesotho Craft Center, with their most colorful basketry as the first thing I saw when entering. I loved the contrasting color combinations, which is similar to how I like to paint furniture and home decor. But if you're not into bright colors, they had plenty of other more subdued styles, as well as a curated selection of beaded jewelry, ostrich eggs, tapestries, carvings, clothing, and more. As part of my mission to support local artisans, the colorful bowls called to me, and I bought a blue one for a whopping $4. The War Memorial, commemorating 951 Basotho soldiers killed in World War II, was next on our itinerary, but some of it was cordoned off with construction. We were able to see a curved screen wall surmounted by a large bronze open-mouthed crocodile, the national emblem of Lesotho, which was erected in 1963, as well as metal sculptures of important figures in Lesotho's history. With my limited time, we drove around and saw some of the important buildings, like the Prime Minister's house, which was behind fencing and a bit difficult to see. Then it was back through the arid landscape to the airport for the 45-minute flight return to Johannesburg. Delayed for 2 hours by thunderstorms, I finally arrived back to my hotel at 9 p.m. after a wonderful day with Matlatsi in Lesotho. One of my favorite guides in Africa, Matlatsi, was really fun and helped to make the most of my 6 hours in Lesotho, and I left with my heart full. Now stick around for our final segment of Ms. World Traveler Goes on Vacation to Johannesburg.